do all the music because I don't like it when people try to imitate people. It kind of takes you away from the moment.
Cher has never been afraid to shock the world. But at 79, she revealed something far more intimate than any headline ever could. Not a scandal, not a confession meant to stir tabloids, but a quiet, powerful look back at the 7 men who shaped her life in ways fame never could. These weren't trophies or conquests. They were chapters, raw, chaotic, romantic, painful, and together they formed the emotional roadmap of a woman the world thought they already understood. Yet Cher insists no one truly knew her heart until now. She strips away the legend, the glitter, the myth, and speaks as a woman who loved deeply, lost painfully, and survived brilliantly. And the first man in this reversed journey wasn't a rock god or Hollywood icon, but someone far gentler, far more unexpected. Because for Cher, the story doesn't begin with fire, it begins with peace. Josh Lucas. Josh Lucas was the gentlest surprise in Cher's long, complicated history of love. He wasn't a rock star, a Hollywood powerhouse, or a man wrapped in chaos. He was something far rarer. Calm. Emotional steadiness isn't the kind of thing Cher encountered often in her life, especially not with men drawn to her spotlight. But Josh wasn't dazzled by fame. He didn't chase her legacy or the aura that surrounded her. He saw her as a person, not a persona. And for Cher, that alone felt revolutionary. Josh brought intellectual curiosity, softness, and a quiet confidence into her world. They spent time talking rather than performing, listening rather than impressing. With him, Cher felt an unusual peace, a grounding she didn't know she needed. It wasn't the explosive kind of love she had known in her youth, but a mature connection that came later in life when both people understood themselves better. And though their romance didn't demand forever, it left Cher with a sense of serenity she rarely experienced. But peace isn't where Cher's story stays for long, because the next man brought fire and raw intensity. Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe entered Cher's life like a force of nature, rough around the edges, unapologetically real, and carrying the kind of masculine energy that could fill a room without saying a word. He wasn't interested in playing games or building illusions. His intensity was honest, and Cher found that brutal honesty strangely refreshing. After years surrounded by polished entertainers and industry masks, being with someone who had no filter felt like stepping into fresh air. Their connection was passionate in a grounded way, built on mutual respect rather than spectacle. Russell admired Cher not as an icon, but as a woman shaped by survival, brilliance, and grit. Cher appreciated the protection he offered. Not possessive, but instinctive. He made her feel safe without trying to own her, and that was a rare kind of intimacy. Their time together was short, quiet, and deliberately private. It wasn't meant to last, but it left behind a lingering warmth. Yet even Russell's intensity couldn't match the wild, creative fire that came next, because Richie Sambora brought Cher into the heart of rock and roll. Richie Sambora was everything the golden era of rock represented: untamed talent, emotional depth, and the ability to make a guitar sound like a confession. Cher met him at a point in life when she wasn't searching for chaos, yet she was still undeniably drawn to it. Richie's music, his vulnerability, and his artistic passion created a gravitational pull she couldn't resist. Their connection lived in late-night conversations, shared creativity, and the emotional honesty only two artists could understand. Richie wasn't trying to shape Cher or impress her. He was simply a man who lived for music, and that authenticity resonated with her. They laughed loudly, argued passionately, and understood each other's loneliness in ways outsiders couldn't. The relationship burned bright but briefly. It was never meant for stability. but it didn't need to be. It existed to remind Cher of the thrill of being alive, of the inspiration found in imperfect, artistic souls. But passion wasn't the only form of connection Cher would experience, because next came David Geffen, and their relationship rewrote what intimacy could look like. David Geffen was unlike any man Cher had been with before. He wasn't a rock star or an actor. He was a mastermind, a strategist, a titan of the music and film industries. His brilliance was the first thing that caught Cher's attention, but it was his emotional intelligence that kept her close. David didn't just understand the entertainment world, he shaped it. And for the first time, Cher had a partner who not only saw her success, but understood the machinery behind it. Their relationship was built on conversations that stretched through entire nights, about power, art, identity, ambition, and the price of authenticity. David respected Cher's mind as much as her talent, and that kind of respect had been rare in her life. Their connection wasn't explosive or dramatic. It was thoughtful, intellectual, and deeply affirming. Though not destined for long-term romance, the bond left an imprint of mutual admiration that lasted decades. But Cher's journey didn't stay in the world of quiet intellect, because the next man was pure Hollywood magnetism. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise symbolized the peak of 80s and 90s Hollywood, a young superstar who could command attention simply by walking into a room. When he and Cher crossed paths, it wasn't destiny or deep emotional alignment. It was timing. It was chemistry. It was two icons finding themselves drawn together in a moment when both were rising fast and living in the electric glow of fame. Their connection wasn't complicated. It wasn't tortured or transformative. It was fun, fast, private, and free of the emotional weight that often followed Cher's relationships. Tom was respectful, charming, and surprisingly grounded. Cher appreciated that he didn't try to be larger than life around her. He simply was who he was. They shared attraction, conversations, and a brief moment in time. But both understood it had a shelf life, and that was perfectly fine. Not every love story needs to last forever to be meaningful. But lasting impact came next, because Val Kilmer would change not just Cher's heart, but her career. Val Kilmer, at the height of his early career, was unpredictable, artistic, and intellectually hungry. He and Cher connected on a wavelength that went beyond romance. They met at a time when Cher was battling to be taken seriously as an actress. Hollywood viewed her as a singer dabbling in film. But Val saw a performer with emotional range, discipline, and instinct. He believed in her long before the awards did. Their romance was intense, creative, and full of emotional texture. Val challenged her, pushed her, and treated her like an equal in an industry that often minimized women. They shared artistic ambitions, discussed scripts, exchanged ideas, and built a relationship rooted in creativity. The relationship didn't survive the volatility of two passionate artists, but its influence was undeniable. Val rekindled Cher's confidence in acting and helped her lean into roles that redefined her career, but no connection, no matter how transformative, shaped Cher as deeply as the man who came next, the one she loved hardest and hurt longest. Gregg Allman. Gregg Allman was the love that burned longest and cut deepest. When Cher met the soulful, wounded musician of the Allman Brothers Band, she found someone who understood pain as intimately as she did. Gregg carried a fragile brilliance, raw, emotional, and shaped by addiction, trauma, and genius. Cher fell for the man behind the myth, the one who let his guard down only for her. They married in 1975, but the marriage lasted only 9 days. Still, their connection lasted years, far beyond what the public ever saw. Their love was chaotic, beautiful, toxic, and profound. Greg could be tender and devastating in the same breath, and Cher tried to save him from demons he wasn't ready to surrender. Even after their final breakup, he remained in her heart. When Greg died, Cher's public grief showed the world what she had known privately for decades. He was the man she loved more deeply than she ever admitted, and with that final chapter, Cher's reversed journey through love reveals not scandal, but a lifetime of survival, vulnerability, and truth. In the end, Cher's story isn't about scandal, conquest, or the shock value people expect from a woman who has lived her entire life under a spotlight. It's about evolution, about a heart that kept learning, breaking, healing, and expanding through every decade of fame and reinvention. Each man she loved offered a different mirror, reflecting back the pieces of herself she was still discovering. Peace from Josh Lucas, strength from Russell Crowe, passion from Richie Sambora, intellect from David Geffen, freedom from Tom Cruise, artistic courage from Val Kilmer, and soul-deep love from Greg Allman. Together, they formed a mosaic of experiences that shaped the woman behind the legend. Cher never apologized for loving boldly, nor did she ever pretend her past was something to hide. At 79, she embraces her journey with honesty and humor, reminding the world that life is meant to be lived loudly, fully, without fear of judgment. The men in her life didn't define her, but they did illuminate the path she walked. And as Cher looks back, she carries only gratitude, because every chapter, no matter how brief or intense, helped her become exactly who she was meant to be.